It's Cerf. I'm Commissioner of Education in New Jersey, and I thought I'd just say a few words about the work that we're doing, the progress we're making, and the initiatives that we are pursuing. New Jersey is among the highest performing states in the country, as measured by the NAEP. At the same time, we have in our midst several hundred schools that are performing as badly as any schools in the country, and it will not surprise you to hear that they're disproportionately serving children of color and children born in economically challenging circumstances. So when I took the job a couple of years ago, it was with a very clear mission, that is to see what we can do to make sure that we fulfill the promise of equality of opportunity for every child. It's been a great and interesting adventure in the time that's passed. It's that, to start with, state departments of education historically have not been as central to the conversation as they need to be. And there is a tendency towards regulation, towards compliance orientation, and towards a sort of steady as you go, sort of safe course. There is enormous opportunity, particularly in the shifting dynamic between local control, heavy-handed federal government intervention, and now things are kind of landing back at the state level. We exist to make sure that every child, regardless of birth circumstances, has an equal opportunity to be launched into adulthood, ready for college and career. And then we asked ourselves, what are we doing about that? And we reached I think, conclusion that we're 880 people strong and have a $62 million a year budget. There's 2,500 schools, 600 school districts, and so on. But we, as a department, we're not organized to achieve what we set out to do. So we said, what are the pathways towards change that really make a difference? And we think there are four. And I completely zeroed out the organization chart and built an organization which my cabinet consists of a chief academic officer, a chief talent officer, a chief innovation officer, and a chief performance or accountability officer. And all of our work is poured into each of those. For example, the chief innovation officer oversees responsibility for bringing great new schools and school models to the states, including charter schools. We, for better or worse, are the sole authorizer of charter schools in New Jersey. We take that responsibility very, very, very seriously. And we have, as was interestingly and coincidentally just validated yesterday, we have, in a comparative sense, one of the best complements of charter schools in the country. We've been very disciplined about how we take the authorizing process seriously, and we, in fact, have closed something like 10 to 15% of our schools closed or put in probation in this sort of constant effort to get better and better and better. So the Chief Innovation Officer is working on that, working on bringing interesting digital and other innovative solutions to schools, both traditional, public, and charter. The Chief Academic Officer is engaged in setting very high standards and defining what those standards are, and in implementing this potentially pivotal moment for the Common Core curriculum. Chief Talent Officer is executing against what we all know in our bones is the most important feature of this, and that is who are the leaders of the buildings and the teachers in the classroom. It's something we have not taken seriously as a country, and not as seriously as we need to. Done a number of important things in that regard, including our legislature passed a new tenure bill, which dramatically changed the rules. We're doing a great deal to influence the sort of pipeline of educators coming into the state, and to make sure that there is serious accountability. And that includes, by the way, helping to develop our educators to be as good as they can be. We've made a lot of progress, and it's an exciting time in public education. I'd say more has happened in the last 4 or 5 years. I've been at this now for, 20 years or something, but more has happened in the last 4 or 5 years, I think, than has ever happened, that happened in the previous several decades.